you'll need your usual yoga bits and your usual yin bits and pieces, but tonight's practice is entitled Yang into Yin. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of movement and then come into a yin pose. We'll stay there for our normal amount of time, and then we're going to come out, we'll rebound, then we'll do a little bit more movement, and the movement will always be linked to the yin pose that we will do subsequently. Okay, so it's yang into yin tonight. All right. For the first one, you may well want your bolster, so have that nearby. I'm just going to swallow the last of my tea before it goes cold. Bring this over. I think we're pretty neat and tidy. Okay. So as all the best, all the best yoga lesson plans are, faithfully kind of written or composed in the car. When I used to teach in Sidcup on a Monday night, to those of you that used to come to Sidcup with me, at the beginning, when I very first started teaching there, I had already done a day's teaching at school, so I was still a secondary school teacher, and I would come home and I'd make dinner and sort all the kids out. James would come in from work and I'd literally walk out of the door to get to Sidcup on time. And the best of my yoga lessons were planned in the car on that journey to Sidcup, which was quite convenient. But I'd have all my good ideas in the car. It became my little composing place. So anyway, this was what I was thinking about as I was driving back from Penshurst this afternoon. So we're going to come over onto all fours. We're just going to launch straight into tonight's practice because it's a little bit different. And we're going to do a little bit of cow and cat. So you're going to take an inhale and arch your spine. And you're going to take an exhale and round your back. Sorry, when I say arch your spine, I kind of mean the cow shape. So lift your tailbone, lift your chin and chest as you inhale. And then you can round your back spine as you exhale. But you know what you're doing with this. And I thought that this would be quite a nice practice because although today has been really lovely, there was a lot of sitting. Obviously driving there and then sitting in this restaurant for hours and then sitting to drive home. And I was thinking, well, what do I want from tonight's practice? It's always a bit selfish, isn't it? I thought I just would like to do a little bit of moving and then a little bit of yin. So that's the inspiration. So you're going to take one or two more breaths here. We're going to go really slow with these movements, and it's not a forcing, it's more of an unwinding, because you too might have had a day where you've been quite active and busy, and you just might need a little bit of movement to unwind your body, in as much as you need a little bit of stillness to balance out the busyness. So we'll do one more breath. Take as long as you need. One more inhale. And exhale. And we're going to stay in the rounded shape, and we're coming into a child's pose. So it might be that you just take a kind of child without any props at all, or you could bring your bolster underneath you and have a supported child's pose option like this. Or indeed any version of child's pose. And if kneeling really doesn't suit you or work for your knees, then please come onto your back and you can lay the bolster over your chest and hug the bolster and hug the knees in towards the chest, that kind of option that we've done before. Okay. So if you've chosen to use the bolster, obviously let it support the weight of your torso, but at the same time keep the hips and the tailbone fairly heavy, fairly low to the ground, so that more of your weight is falling down the spine as opposed to weight in your head or in your neck. You don't really want to be weight bearing in the upper parts of your back. We're looking for a gentle release of the lower body. So encourage length to occur in between the spaces of the vertebra in your lower back. Breathe into the low ribs, the kidneys, the lumbar. And give yourself this opportunity to sink into a really delightful stillness. You're going to stay here for one more minute. Okay, so taking one more breath. And then softly and slowly lifting yourself out of your child's pose and maybe just coming forwards to lay onto your front. Okay. So, staying on your front, our next yang is cobra pose. So you're going to put your hands roughly besides your shoulders, elbows pointing backwards towards the end of the mat, back of the neck nice and long, and again moving with the breath here. So inhaling and lifting the head, shoulders, upper body, gentle push into the palms. And don't overdo this because you're going to do a few of them. So you're exhaling to come down. And we keep going. So it's inhaling and up. Exhaling down. And now, because we're doing these on repeat, it gives you the time to feel your own way into this. For instance, where do you feel that you could work differently? Where does your body need softness? Do you need to back off? Are you trying too hard? And if you feel that you're doing too many repetitions, you are very welcome to rest. We're going to take 2 more of these. And come down. And then our yin pose is going to be Sphinx. So just a simple propping of the upper body. Now if your arms have got tired because you've done the up and down movement and you want to take something underneath the sort of front of the chest or the armpits, just to give you the back bend shape but without you having to work so hard to hold it, then by all means use some support here. This is also quite nice because then your arms can be a bit more free and you can also let your head sit, your chin sit into your palms. And again, just a nice long stay so we can appreciate the contrast, but also acknowledge how sometimes doing a little bit of the movement first can be really beneficial. Don't confuse the parts of the body you're working. So when you do the movement, when you do the yang, it's much more about muscular effort, getting blood to flow. You're using your breath. Here, this is yin. Your yin tissues don't have blood in them. When we feel that kind of cool, rushy sensation when we come out of the pose, that's normally the blood going back into the soft tissues when it's been squeezed out because we've held a certain type of compression. But it isn't anything to do necessarily with the tissues we're targeting. Because we're holding these poses for a long time, we're doing them without making too much effort, then we work the connective tissue of the body as opposed to the muscles. So you might be here and just be having a very, very different experience. Well, I hope you're having a very different experience to the effort that's made or was made in the cobra poses. Okay, you're about halfway through. Make any adjustments that you need. Go deeper, go softer, whatever it is. One more minute. So take one more breath. And do the same as you did before, perhaps coming onto your tummy to rest. Alright, so take one more breath. And then you can make your way up into a seated position. Alright, so far we've done forward folds and back bends. And so I thought we would keep it about the spine to keep it simple. So we're going to move laterally. We're going to do some side bends next. So you can stay in a cross-legged seat. You can sit with your legs out in front of you. You have one leg bent and one leg straight. There isn't a rule for this because it's just about, can I move my spine with ease? So the yang part first of all, going to take a gentle inhalation and raise one arm up and over your head and just softly lean into the side of your body, and exhale to return. Over to the other side, inhaling and exhaling. And because we're going to do a few of these, You drop into your own pattern, your own rhythm. Don't worry about what I'm doing or anybody else that you can see practicing. And instead, maybe close the eyes so that you can really concentrate on where or how deep you want to take this. Go inside your body. Don't worry about what it looks like on the outside. What does it feel like in your shoulder? What does it feel like along the length of your arm if you subtly alter how far you lengthen through your fingertips? Do you always want to be in this sort of linear side bend, or do you want to tilt a little bit to take it more into the back or more into the front of your torso? You could even turn your palm up to the ceiling as you side stretch, and that will create a different sensation through the shoulder muscles. Don't try too hard. Just keep it gentle, soft and smooth. And we'll do one more on each side. Okay. So when you're ready, you're coming back to the center. Take your time. Just pause for a minute, because there's quite a lot, isn't there, when we're rocking our head from side to side many times. Can feel maybe a little bit of a lot. But then what I would like you to experiment with is, where do you want your legs? So you've had them in one position for all of that time, so it's like a mini yin. You could alternate the cross of the legs. You could do what we did, what I suggested earlier, one leg straight or both legs straight. Because all you're going to do is gently side bend now towards one side. So whether you're sitting like I am at the moment and leaning, or whether you're sitting cross-legged and leaning, or in a butterfly and leaning, doesn't matter, okay? Not worried about your hips, worried about your spine. So, with that in mind, you could take some support and use that to gently lean into. Take care of the top shoulder, make sure it doesn't get too tired. Just find a side bend shape that your body feels that it could stay in for the next few minutes. Okay, you got 1 more minute here. I wonder if, like me, this feels completely different in the side of my body compared to the flowy yang side bends. I wonder whether you have a preference either, or whether there shouldn't really be a preference, because we don't want to attach ourselves to such things. But nevertheless, it's interesting, isn't it? Because yin often has this almost like a love-hate experience with many of the poses. And so, for instance, if the yang bit was very floaty and light and felt good, felt welcomed in the body, and then we come into these very still yin versions, which can feel quite cramped sometimes, like we're squashing bits of our body, we're staying for a long time, it gets a bit tedious. It's easy to attach ourselves onto all of these emotions linked with the pose, these sensations. Last breath. Okay, so no rebound. Coming up, I really feel like I aged massively. Everything's gone very stiff from that one. Okay, so swap over. You might want to change your leg position. So if you were cross-legged for the last one and you want to try butterfly legs or straight legs of a kind, then please feel free to. And just let yourself ease into second side. Remember, this one's just been, this side that you're now lengthening into has been squished for the past few minutes, and now we've got to open it up again. So then there will be a reluctance to do that. So don't force it, don't push into it, just allow it to lengthen at its own pace. Can you make any subtle, tiny adjustments to parts of your body to bring about even more ease, even more softness? It might be changing the angle of your head slightly. Might be where your arm rests or your shoulder lies. So under a minute. Okay, so taking your last breath in this shape. And slowly emerging. Oh. Having a rebound when you're ready. All right, so 1 or 2 more breaths. And for our next yang into yin, we're going to take a lying twist. So you can just push your bolster or your props out of the way. You might want a blanket, you might play around with different props, but we'll get to that in a minute when we get to the yin part. For now, you're just going to come and lay on your side. So you're laying on your side with both knees bent and the arms out at shoulder height. Nice and simple, top arm comes all of the way up and over, and it opens out behind you, and this you'll do as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, the arm will float back. And we'll keep going with that on repeat. So remember, the first few, you keep them really soft, you don't force into it. You let your body open up. Of course, the previous pose, there was a little bit of stretch going on in the shoulder and maybe into the neck. So this might feel quite nice, because twists can be really good for realigning the spine. And as you repeat this, maybe take the top arm into slightly different positions. Maybe one time it goes a little bit higher than shoulder height. Maybe the next time it goes a little bit lower than your shoulder height. Maybe there's a little bit of extra length and reach into the fingertips so the arm feels really long. And we'll do one more of these. As you come into the open part, you're going to stay there. And then we play around with the position of the upper body. It might be that we have to shuffle around a little bit here. We might need something underneath the arm or the shoulder to support it. We might need something in between or underneath the knees to support there. So please play around with your props if you think that might bring you some benefit. And then our intention is going to be to stay here in this lovely open twist and breathe into your upper body. Okay, so last few breaths, maybe 3 or 4. Good. So taking your time, return yourself back over to the side of your body, and then we will prep for the other side. So we'll do the yang on the other side first, and then we'll come into the yin. You don't have to swap ends, I'm just going to swap ends so that I can still face the camera. But you can just roll over. Make sure that you've got plenty of space for your arm behind you, and you can begin whenever you like. The first couple, first 2 or 3, just take it really gentle. Think of the fact that you are gently massaging the back of the shoulder that you're lying on. You're creating a gentle opening across the front of the chest. And then maybe do just one more of these to bring yourself into the open shape. Making any adjustments through the upper body, any shuffles around, any change in arm position, any support for the knees. And then even though you moved, even though you breathed your way into these twists and you kept them flowy, even though all of that happened, there still might be this initial resistance to remain still. So you've got to work with that by making any adjustments that means that your body has to try less hard. And you'll notice this because your breathing will slow down. Your body will feel heavier. You'll let go of any held muscles, held tightness in and around the areas that you're working. got about 3 or 4 breaths left here. And when you're ready, coming back to the side of your body. It's really nice, isn't it, when there's that heaviness, you don't want to move really. But I would suggest coming into something that's neutral if you can possibly bring yourself to do it. Maybe the bolster comes underneath the knees this time. Alright, so I'm conscious that I was thinking about doing another pose, but actually I think it would be done in a rush if we were, so I'm going to suggest instead that we come into Shavasana now. So do make sure that you've got your warm things, a blanket over you, maybe keep the bolster under the knees, pillow under the head if you like. This is Shavasana, this is different to the rebound. So the rebound, we feel ourselves kind of being pieced back together after the intensity of the shape. But now in Shavasana, it's all about the stillness and the softness and letting equilibrium feel its way back into your body. But we'll keep the yin and yang theme going for Shavasana. So as you lie here right now, imagine your breath as if it was seaweed. Inhale, exhale. Seaweed gently moving on the currents of the ocean. Inhale, exhale. Meeting the changes of the sea, going with the flow. Inhale, exhale. The seaweed dances and accommodates your breath with ease. Inhale, exhale, and as the current starts to still, so does the current of your breath. As you fall deeper into Shavasana. Alright, so we're going to start to bring our awareness back into the space that you're in. Breathe a little bit more deeply. Run the pads of your thumbs across the tips of your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Roll your head from side to side. Take a stretch out any way that feels good. And then you can gather your knees in, roll yourself over to the side to come round and up to sit. Good. And let's finish as we do ordinarily together. Fingertips out, out wide. Take an inhale and raise both thumbs up high. Let's meet the palms, and as you exhale, bring the hands down to your heart centre. And thank you so much for coming to practice together tonight. Well done. Namaste.